Double up, we don't play around, it's a bet later.
Glumera, a 9 foot tall sabotory priest, and that's a big anthropomorphic kind of saber-toothed cat. And I am the plot doctor on TikTok and anywhere else of relevance generally.
And then we have our ever fair weathered individual who likes to try to headbutt things or is going to attempt to now. We have Gascon.
Hello. My socials are way too varied. I keep forgetting to give them out as well, so doesn't matter. I'm not too bothered by that anyway. I'm just here to have fun.
Well, we need to get those socials done at some point. And then finally, our newest member on their road to becoming a legend themselves is Mora Belgris. How are you?
Hi, I'm Mora, Grace Sonia on TikTok, and I'm really excited to play this. I'm a little bit nervous. Got butterflies in my belly, but I'm excited to play it.
Oh, you'll be awesome. I think it'll be awesome. So when we last left you guys, you had just finished cleansing out the shrine of Elal in the neighborhood of the Devil's Triangle in the city of Dodota Shiva in the Southern District. And we kind of left off with Tahir. You were headed to the main temple of Elal to give that report. And then everybody else was kind of hanging out. Mora is a new arrival to the city and has made her way into the Southern District, which happens to be also the first district most people come into, as it's the largest district in the sense of housing and businesses and things like that, and has made her way into that. And you actually find your way down one of the main streets into what we consider the Devil's Triangle neighborhood. And you see this large, very tall, I don't think you've even seen one. You may have heard of them, a Jakara. You know that they are a cat-like people. And he's talking to a pair of individuals, and then begins to make his way. He leaves them and starts to move on. So what we'll do is we'll pick up with you three making discussions on what you're going to do, and then Moira, we'll figure out how to. I want to put this on you guys to figure out how you bring her in, because it's really up to you guys on how you do that. You can be distrustful, you can do whatever you want to, and watch out for Ziggy and Banshees. Anyways.
Right. Well, where have you two got to go then?
To the
Need
temple
to
of
find my
Allah.
ammo.
So
Need my
you
ammo
are-
for my gun. So
First things
I have to
first,
pay-
Sig, that we need to do is get you cleansed. You've got a curse.
I have to pay a visit to the temple as well, admittedly.
Well,
Do
I
that.
think that would be a good first stop.
let's get some food on the way.
Mm-hmm.
And just as a reminder, there is the Ishtal Tavern, which has been fondly renamed the Dish Towel Tavern. It's right across from the Shrine of Elal. And you guys have made your semi-permanent residence in the Inn of the Gawking Fox, which is across the main street. And even across this main street, there's a huge difference between the homes and shops on one side of the street compared to the other street. They're both in the Southern District, and they're both part of what's considered the Devil's Triangle, but there's a definite economic difference between the two. It's almost night and day.
We've got enough time for a drink, though, if you prefer to get that before we go get you decursed.
Okay, I'll pay. I'll pick this up in the place. Just jingle the large pouch of gemstones.
Do you do that? Do you do that like in a like showing off kind of thing, or just kind of like, hey guys, just reminding you I've got this here?
Well, it's Ziggy, so he's probably not thinking clearly as usual.
As usual. Okay, very good. Make a go ahead, Tahir.
I immediately, the moment he starts jingling it, start looking around the street for people that are taking an unusual amount of interest in his coin purse.
There are a lot of heads that turn.
Yeah.
Either A, as in they're watching him, or be because of the tinkling noise that he's making in the streets.
Zig, you might want to put that somewhere safe.
Oh shit!
Is this a common occurrence?
Ziggy jiggling
Or is
coin
this-
purses in the middle of the
Common.
street.
Let's just
Well, if
go
it is a-
get booze and booze. Booze and food. Just let's. It's horrible and dark in there. I don't want to go back into where it's dark and it's horrible. I want to go somewhere where it's warm and there's candlelight and there's beer and there's hot stew and fresh baked bread.
Well, the longer you spend complaining about it all, the less time we're going to be spending drinking. So why don't we start walking?
Good idea. Remember, it's
And,
further for me than you.
Not by much, admittedly.
Not by much.
Remember, you're not the only one with much further to reach the clouds.
Are the guards still on the temple?
They are. Yeah, they
Cool.
and they've actually been replaced. They used to be City Watch, but the City Watch has actually have been replaced by soldiers of the church.
Fantastic. We'll just leave those there in place then, because like we also left a significant amount of money down there, so like,
Right.
which is all going to go to pay to restore the temple, I imagine.
Tavern.
Pardon?
Tavern. Which one we're going to?
Well, the nearest one is the Ishtal Tavern, so there.
And that dish towel it is.
The dish towel it is.
But let's not rag on it too much.
Oh no! Not
Oh,
with
and
the
it
puns
begins.
already.
It begins.
Oh, and the
Always.
puns. So,
As always.
the dish towel tavern is a fairly large tavern for this side of the of the Southern District. It is always busy, but it is very shady, almost in the concept of scum and villainy in a sense. There are always deals happening, whether it's spice trade, illegal weapons happening that you don't see, those kind of things, but you've gotten that feeling from it. But it is a very warm and welcoming place unless you have deals to be made. The tavern itself is run by someone called I forget his name actually, but he's a large series, larger than most of series. He stands almost 6 feet tall, almost like an aberration of the species itself. And when you walk in, he kind of gives you this glance like, I'm checking you out. You better be careful or I will throw you out, in a non-peaceful way, in a sense. And then he goes about his business. It's filled with a light smoke that's a combination of pipe smoke and other smoke, and the air is filled with an aroma of cooking meats and sage and tobacco.
Sounds a lot
both
nicer in
nice
here
and
than that.
absolutely awful.
I think I'd just like sit down quite heavily in a chair and just be like, want to get the drinks in, Zig?
Okay. So go get the drinks in. I'll use some of the coin rather than the stones. Since I don't know, what skill would I use to determine the value?
Say again?
What skill would I be using to determine the value of this bag of gemstones?
That would be appraising.
Oh, cool. That's a skill I don't have.
I'm not. Is it a trained skill? I'm not sure if it's a trained skill. I think it might be a trained skill.
It's a.
It's got a G after it, so it's
So it's a
yeah.
general skill. So you can make an attempt at it with a base score of 30 plus your intelligence modifier.
So 30 plus 7, so 37. And I rolled a 36.
They are worth, you feel, a good amount. You don't know the exact extent though, but they are well shaped. They are well chipped. There are no, as you can see, as far as you can tell, there are no major cracks in them, but they could bring you pretty silver.
Just don't fondle the sack too much in the open, please.
Here we go.
Oh,
It's a
listen.
good quality. Look at the quality of this leather.
Yeah.
See?
I don't care if it's good quality leather. Stop fondling the sack so much in the open. There might be children watching.
There's certainly potentially thieves watching, so I wouldn't if I were you.
Fair enough. To be honest with you, though, if we're selling these, we need to sell them to somebody who actually trades in gems rather than the barman.
Well, yeah, I'll leave all that to you. Like, I consider that part of your fee for helping out. So
Okay.
just
I'm having a room in your place and helping you out again, though. I want a room with access to the roof. I don't want a room in the deep dark.
we'll see what we can provide. I don't think there's much of the shrine that's actually above ground.
We'll build an extension for me then.
Yeah, that's
Just a
fine.
little dormer.
Yeah,
with a
it doesn't
hammock.
have to be big.
No, it doesn't actually. Just sting a hammock up in a corner, you'll be fine. Right.
Cool.
I'll head to the bar. I'll get a large jug of ale and I'll get 4 mugs, then turn around and realise that Bron's disappeared somewhere.
What happened to Brom?
Oh,
Beats me.
At the end, when you guys had finally gotten out of the shrine and cleaning it out, he kind of made a fond adieu for now. As he's got some personal business outside of Doroshiba that he must attend to, and he hopes to return as quickly and as swiftly as he can, depending on whether he can handle the situation or not. And he made his way out pretty quickly after you guys got out.
Fair enough. I don't really blame him.
and I'll order 4 bowls of stew with bread as well.
Cool. So I think we'll eat and we'll recuperate a little bit, and then maybe head on over to the temple. Is our next port of call.
Yeah.
Shelby, what are you doing at this time? Mora, what's Mora doing?
She's probably, because probably with travel and all that, she's probably is looking for something to eat and something to drink because she has been traveling quite a bit. So she probably might be finding somewhere to eat.
Well, as you make, like I said, as you make your way into this section of the city, which is really the gates to Doroshiba itself, you made your way into this part of it, and like I said, you saw these 3 individuals. One was a Canis, one was a Jakara, one was a Manix, and one was a Koba, and they were all discussing. You saw the Canis kind of bow his head. They exchange words, and he kind of disappears into the crowd. And a few moments later, after some discussing, you saw these 3 individuals make their way to this tavern, and above it has a signboard called the Ishtal Tavern, and they make their way into that. And right across the street from you, I'm actually going to change the name on you. It's called the Unicorn and Fox Inn. That's right across the street from it. And if you actually looked at this on a map, it's kind of like you've got the Ishtal Tavern here, the shrine here, and then across the street. So there's this major street that runs this direction, and then these other little streets that kind of come into it. It kind of almost makes like a triangle in a sense, right? When you look at it on a map. What do you want to do?
I will probably follow the certain people that have gone into the food place because I am starving.
As your characters enters, what do they sort of look like? What's their
Big, tall, giant horns, shield and an axe behind, and don't got like mainly just traveling clothes and just looking around, and probably going to be heading to the probably ordering some food and a drink and all of that.
As you kind of look over this bahul that enters, they are dressed, in traveling clothes, but underneath their shirt, you happen to notice a fine suit of what looks like ring armor. That they kind of hide away in a sense, like they don't want people to know that they're actually wearing it. But you catch the glint of steel beneath their shirt.
And then there's me who doesn't care about the fact that he's wearing ring armor. People can see it.
I think as your character enters, I just give them sort of like a professional looking nod, sort of like
Nod back.
one professional
tall
to
one to another.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
one giant to another.
One giant
Right. As Tahir nods, I'll notice Tahir nodding her. I'll notice nodding back. I'll look at the food we've got and the beer we've got and the fact that we've got a spare bowl and a spare flagon. And I just look at Tahir and goes, why don't you get your friend to join us?
I don't know them, but sure. I mean,
Oh, I thought they're
eating
not
hungry is
friends.
part of my mission.
Most people are. Well,
We accidentally ordered too much food. Would you like to come take a seat?
I would love to. Thank you very much. Do you want any money for it at all?
No, don't worry
I
about
think
it. It's
we'll
fine.
go.
Paid for, you
Thank
might as well.
very much. Sit down, get the food. I'm absolutely starving. Thank you very much.
No problem. What's your name?
Mora.
Mora. Pleased to meet you. I'm Tahir. This is Ziggy and Gascon.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Have you been
Mouthful
traveling
of bread, mouthful of bread and stew. Oh,
No, I've not. I've just got in. Just got here. I've just been looking around. I'm very hungry, so
Well,
Yeah.
eat up.
Finish the spoonful of stew. Realise there's some stuck in my beard. Sort of grab whatever I can, wipe it down. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. Apologies for the mess. It's been a busy day. Absolutely starving.
yeah.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Everyone else is eating like really quite messily. Tahir is like he's got like a fork and and a spoon and he's just eating very, very daintily.
For as big as he is, I mean, you have seen Jakar before, and they tend to be fairly mid-size humanoids. They are about 5 foot to 6 foot. He is shoulder and a head taller than most everybody in this room except you. I mean, you see him eating this with this dainty. It looks dainty, he's just being very, very clean about it compared to Gascon and Ziggy, who are literally.
He looks like Shaquille O'Neal, where it's just like tiny fork.
Well, it's with Ziggy. He's a street kid. You don't know when your next meal's coming, and you don't want to risk anybody taking this one off you. So get it down your neck as fast as you can.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about getting stuff in the fur. Like,
Yes,
I can wipe out the beard
Yeah,
afterwards.
that actually makes sense.
I can just wipe out the beard afterwards. It's all good.
You don't have to worry about
It'll get
hairballs.
burnt off anyway, so half of it will get burnt off in combat, and the rest I'll just chop off because it looks horrible otherwise.
And you don't have to worry about fur balls.
All of you make perception checks. It's mostly a hearing check more than anything, as you guys are making conversation.
Am I coming through particularly quiet, by the way?
No.
No, you seem to be okay at my end.
You're fine.
It might be something different on the stream. I don't
Someone
know.
in the Twitch chat is all. I just wanted to point that out. You said perception, by the way, didn't you?
Perception, yes.
What's a crit fail? Actually, it doesn't matter, right? It's only perception.
Yeah.
I failed. 93.
Oh, you failed.
Which
All
I
right.
don't think is a crit fail.
Well, it's not, but it's yeah, you failed.
Terrible. I know I failed.
So that's a
93 is only a success on like 2 of my skills.
so that's a 68 with a skill of 83.
All right. What about you,
So I
Mora?
passed with 2 successes.
I got a 15 with a skill of 61.
Wow, very well
Ooh.
done. And to hear?
I failed by 2 degrees.
So, you both, Mora and Ziggy, as you guys are chit chatting, you're hearing conversation of the upcoming celebration festival that happens once a year in the Devil's Triangle, and people are getting kind of excited about it. The largest series behind the bar, who's always moving around, taking and waiting on tables as much as he is, says some things about the festival, and that it's it brings a lot of business to him. And he's actually mumbling under his breath about how he has to clear out some of the rag tags that might lead to more problems than he needs, because the festival is fairly large for this part of the city, and looks like it's going to be happening in the next day, from what you gather.
What's it a festival of? What's it in celebration of?
It is it's called the Procession of Laka, and it is a religious celebration honoring a legendary local cleric named Lokur. You've never heard of this name before, though, Tier, as they kind of relay this to you. It tends to wind through the streets of the Southern District, specifically in the Devil's Triangle. And you get the sense that maybe he wasn't so much a cleric as he was just a person of honor, in a sense. Like, they give him the concept of cleric, but you've never heard of this name before.
Okay. No problem.
Well, this festival sounds very interesting. All the locals are very excited about it.
A place like this, we just want a chance to have a party and make new friends, if you know what I mean.
Ah, indeed,
Sounds
I
like
do.
a lot of fun.
Might see if the waiter might need a bit of help with something tomorrow with the. No,
Even though he's mumbling, and you can hear him, he's grumbling about the rag tags and the rats that he has to get out of the tavern. You don't feel like he is incapable of handling his own business. I mean,
Yeah.
for in a series, most of the series are 4.5 to 5 feet, and he's nearly 6. He's powerfully built with all 4 arms. I mean, to be in this side of the city and in the Devil's Triangle, you have to be a very stringent, tough looking and tough acting individual, and he measures up to that.
I think you'll be fine. This festival sounds fun.
Well, we can certainly be here for it tomorrow.
Well, it's in the neighbourhood of your new patch, so
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a good chance to meet some new people and maybe give out some arms, see if more people can be enticed to the faith of Allah.
well, I'll be there for you.
Fantastic. Can always count on music.
So it's still pretty early in the day. It hasn't quite gotten into the afternoon. Did you want to take any care of any business after you guys eat and drink? Yes.
I've got to go to the church.
Yeah.
Live to hear.
I need
After
to go
that,
to church as well.
Yeah, because I need to get myself fixed.
Would you care to join
Yeah.
us? Mora, the temple district is quite beautiful this time of year.
I've never been here before, so if it's okay with you, if I tag along and you show me around the place, it'd be absolutely lovely.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
we have a tendency to make certain types of people not like us, so just be warned. We do tend to attract the odd bit of trouble.
Oh, don't worry. think they'll be more frightened of me.
You look like you can handle yourself, so.
Hmm.
Plus, with another person whose head seems to be touching the clouds, I'm sure we'll be fine.
I don't
Have
know
you ever
what they
thought
mean.
of Banshee?
Never experienced trouble.
Moira,
We can
have you ever
always tell
thought
them
of
the weather.
Banshee?
When the actors just tell them the weather.
So apparently, Gascon, you are coming through very quietly. Apparently.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked. Because I noticed. Might be. You might need to turn me up on your end. I'm not sure. If you can.
I think you can boost it using your own.
Yeah, if you
Steam.
right-click it and turn it up to 200%. Nope, it's gone all weird on stream now. Yeah, if you turn it up to 200%, that might boost the output on the
Yeah,
stream.
I did. I boosted on your end.
Cool.
You as you're talking with Ziggy to here, you've noticed that he's no longer. What color was your fur? Was it a brown or what was it, Zig?
He just looks like pretty average for a Manx, so
Brownish furs. You've noticed that his fur hasn't changed, but the colorization of his skin is getting a grayish tint.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna sort of like squat down next to him and sort of go, "My eye, just take a look at you."
well,
I start like preening through his fur just to sort of like see the color of the skin underneath. And I'm gonna do some basic like healing checks on him as well.
Yeah, go for it. Go ahead and make a. You know what? Do 2 checks. One a healing, and then a lore divine.
oh my God.
Healing, I
I'm
got 1
changing to a
degree.
re-race.
Lore divine, I got 1, 2, 3 degrees.
So, and what'd you do? And what about your healing check?
1 degree.
1 degree.
Once it
You there's a faint smell of death or rot starting to emanate from him.
Yeah. We really need to get you to the temple, mate.
Yeah. Okay.
And the claw mark that he received from the encounters with those zombies has
Right over my heart.
kind of started. It's oozing an ichor like pus.
Yeah.
The wound itself has not healed, even with the healing that you've placed on him, and it's definitely an open wound that is not healing. And the closer you get to the wound as you examine it, you notice that the skin is getting even gray, more gray, right? Like it goes from like a normal looking, it's necrotizing as you get closer to it. So it's slowly starting to take over.
It's curing touch. I need to get rid of that, isn't it? I think.
For you to stop it now.
Yeah. So I think like magical undeath comes under curing touch.
It does, I believe. Let's see here.
It's possible I might be able to just cure that, and then we'll take him to the temple to check out anything that I can't deal with.
Got in touch, would Mara be able to do some?
Go ahead and make a divine knowledge check for curing touch. And I know it says a PR curing of 2. But this is a little more powerful. So you're gonna need it's gonna be at least a TS4.
TS4. Okay. We can but no, unfortunately not.
Yeah. You begin to say a prayer to Allah, and you can feel the energies emanating from you into Zig, but the wound itself just seems to get more aggravated.
Yeah.
As though the undeath that he was touched with is a lot more powerful than what you've seen before.
Okay. Let's get you to the temple.
Okay.
I think we probably make like all haste to the temple district. Like, Tahir's trying not to be obvious about it, but he is like hurrying along. Um,
Right. So it takes you about an hour to get to the main temple, the head church of the All Father, and you know it's busy. And as you guys leave the tavern and begin to make your way, you can now start to see people are starting to put things up, banners of different colors, and distinctly there's two different types of banners that are actually happening. Right, there's one that is a very bright orange kind of thing, and another one that is a deep, almost royal blue, and it almost looks like they're competing against each other as you guys make your way out. It takes you about an hour to get to the Church of the All Father, the main temple in the Shiva. And it's a bright, brilliant building. It is a marble structure that easily takes up what would be a full block in the Southern District. Just the church itself, the grounds around it is easily 3 or 4 blocks. It sits in the central. It's got immaculate gardens that are attended by numerous clerics and priests of Elal and things like that. And the temple itself is built in it's got a central entrance, and then it's a circular build that goes around it, and it's built from a white bluish marble that is a predominant stone that is used in much of the noble district and the northern district, that where this all comes from. And this is actually where it sits, is in the northern district, in what's considered the noble district. And here there's not palatial palaces, but mansions and other things that are obviously well off for this. And the church kind of sits on the edge between the southern district and the western district and the northern district, kind of like in between, where the western district is more of the merchants district in a sense, and then you have the noble district.
okay. The moment I step foot on the temple grounds, I'm going to try again to cure Ziggy, because I recall reading that I get a +20 on my divine knowledge checks when I'm on holy ground
You do.
of my faith.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give this another go. That's much better. That's 4 successes.
You get onto the grounds, and you catch the eye of a number of your other peer priests. They're looking at you, and you kind of start to pray over it. And as you begin to pray, and as you begin to lower your eyes, you notice they all kind of get into this the bowing the head. They stop all work, and you almost feel like there's a connecting vibration and energy between all of you. And as you lay your hands on Ziggy and around the wound, you definitely see the wound is healing. The pus is starting to, but you're starting to feel this negative energy like you've never encountered before, welling up inside Ziggy himself. The wound heals. His skin begins to take on a more natural color, definitely. But there is an essence within Ziggy that you've never experienced before. It almost is like a rebelling against you, trying to keep you from healing him.
Right. I say I've done what I can, Zig. I think I've gotten rid of the undeath, but there's something there. You're gonna need to be looked at by a more experienced healer than me.
Okay.
And I'll turn and I'll nod my thanks to my brothers and sisters that prayed with me.
Yeah, and as soon as you're done with the prayer, and they all kind of say a ritual amen in the church language for Elal, and it almost seems like it echoes away from you, like this vibrating ring now that you're on now that you're on the actual grounds of the main temple.
Just look around. It's nicer than your place.
Yeah,
It's also like 10
I mean-
times the size.
it's 10 times
Yeah.
the size. It hasn't been used as space for a necromancer over the past 20 years.
This is true.
That you know of.
Oi. Come on. Let's go see who we can talk to.
I will sort of head off and go for, elsewhere into the temple because I have my own business to attend to within the grounds. In that case,
Ooh, this is good.
All right, so you head off in one direction, away from the group, on the grounds.
I will basically sort of tap Tahir on the shoulder just before I leave. I will. Where do you think you'll be going? As I have business elsewhere here.
Probably to speak to the healers, and then I'm going to need to give a report to my superiors.
Right,
After
I
that,
will.
we'll be heading back to the shrine.
As in the one we just came out of.
Yes.
I'll meet you here then, once you're done.
Okay.
I have business elsewhere. No doubt.
Right.
Now, remember, guys, I use a lot of the Discord to chit chat with you guys privately, so don't be afraid to hit me up with message or anything like that.
What up?
Cool. I'm gonna take Ziggy and Mora off to the wherever the healers are. Is there like a healing wing, or is it just...
within the actual temple itself, right? You have some healing wings, then you have a central worshiping area of the church, which is predominantly takes up the most of it. And then in the back, you obviously are going to have the administrative offices where your superiors would be. And there's 4 healing wings of the church that you're aware of. And as you make your way to them, you open up into this massive hallway. It's got there are no chairs or benches to sit down on for during worship. Elal requires everybody to stand while you are in worship. But on either side, you can see into the open areas of the healing halls. And one hall is really, really busy with a number of individuals. One is completely empty. It's not been used, but it's generally these are used for when there's like massive outbreaks of disease or sickness or even war for the most part. But one is very, very busy with about 10 individuals in it.
Okay. We'll head to that one then, since it's the one in use at the moment.
Okay. When you approach, there are
Halls or wards have names or numbers, or they're just this hall, that hall. Sorry,
they're not numbered like Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3, Ward 4. They're just called the healing wards, and they just generally they're hey, if you need somebody, they're in the healing wards. So you would have to go from ward to ward. They're not going to specifically say they're in Ward 4 or Ward 3. They're just the healing wards of the temple. And the first ward you come to, which is on the right hand side, is the one that seems to have the most activity, and it seems to be the one that most people come to because it's almost immediately to your right as soon as you enter the main temple.
Yeah, we'll head into there and see if we can catch the attention of one of the healers.
When you walk in there, you get all of you are you going with them, Mora, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Your senses, your smell senses are hit with the indistinguishable smell of burnt flesh. Looks like most of the victims here are burn victims, and there's several priests there. There's a very high priest there, and then a couple of little acolytes that are actually there. And what do you want to do?
I'm going to try and catch the attention of the High Priest once he's finished doing whatever it is he's currently doing, so I'll just wait respectfully off to one side.
A few minutes pass, and you guys are kind of watching around. They bring in another individual who's badly burnt as well, as they're applying healing balm and things like that. He kind of looks up at you, and it is a Tajahu. It's a Taja who looks at you, and he just kind of grimaces at you and then kind of whispers something to an acolyte. You can see him kind of rubbing his hands with this cloth, and he begins to make his way to him. He goes, brother Tahir, how are you?
Good, thank you. Good. I have had a busy couple of days. My friend here, whilst doing the church's work, was struck by a zombie of some kind. I've cleansed the taint of the undeath from him, but there's still some kind of strange dark energy that resides within him, and I wondered if you could take a look.
Oh, most definitely. Yes, I've heard that you've been working on the shrine at the in the Devil's Triangle. Tough work, was it?
Yes.
How did you come to come into contact with zombies? There hasn't been zombies in that part of the city for at least a decade, if I remember correctly.
There were multiple undead underneath the temple, as well as a necromancer and at one point a manifestation of Udarik.
Those are very troubling words.
Dark.
Udarik in the city. We've run his cult out many times, specifically in the southern district, where he tends to take up a lot of space in people's lives. Same with Zahak. But I am grateful to all that you have survived. And let me take a look. And he bends down. He kind of squats down to one knee in front of you, Ziggy, and he looks at you.
The arm front and just show the.
And he looks at the scar that now actually looks, and it looks like like two hands that just scraped through. So now you've got the scar there, and he looks at you, and he closes his eyes and begins to say some words of divine words, and then he kind of takes a deep breath, and he goes, "Was he ever in touch with entities of another plane?"
There was a banshee at one point. There was a banshee. There was the.
Some of those undead seem to be very strong, and not that I know much about them.
There were ghasts, there were zombies, there were skeletons, there was a flaming skull at one point, there was a banshee that nearly killed him. There was the avatar or the manifestation of Udarik that burst forth when we slew the necromancer.
Because his soul is tainted.
His soul is tainted.
His soul is tainted by the power of Udarik. I am very fortunate. We must actually go speak with the Galtan.
Check something. Can you check something? If I can, I'm going to take the braces off. You know, the ones that enhance me ranged combat.
Right.
That we found down there.
Mm-hmm.
Could you check those to make sure it's not something on those that's affecting me?
Well, I can't at this moment, but I will have one of the initiates definitely. He kind of calls over one of the initiates, goes, "Take this to the relics and see if there's any curses on them." And he bows without saying a word, takes them, and disappears out into the main part of the temple, and then disappears into another hallway down the way. It'll be a bit, but right now I think we need to get you over to Galtan.
Just making sure that we're not just treating the symptom and treating the symptoms and ignoring the cause.
Yeah,
right.
Makes sense. What happened? Why so many burns victims?
Oh, there was an explosion of at one of the local breweries that kind of they were trying to attempt to put dark dust in their drink in an effort to give it more of a powerful kick, and a powerful kick it did happen. It blew up the brewery and caught a couple of the nearby buildings on fire, and this is the result of that. Unfortunately, we're well equipped to handle it. It'll take some time for the healing of the wounds, but we'll be able to handle them. But yeah, there was I think there was one loss of life though, maybe two. They're still examining the wreckage of the brewery. It was definitely not it was ill-timed in their part to try to create a new drink, in a sense. I'm still kind of befuddled by the concept of what they were trying to do. But apparently they made a mixture and it literally blew up in their face and caught the brewery on fire and a couple of the surrounding buildings.
That's very unfortunate. So Galtan.
So let me take you to the Giltan. He's the high one of the church here. And we will see what we can do about your friend Ziggy here. And he looks over to you and he kind of looks up more and is like, gives you this this sigh, like he hears tall, but you're a little bit taller than he is, and he's befuddled by your sizes. He's just, as long as you do the work of Elal, you're welcome here. And he looks to you to hear, like, do you vouch for this person?
I'll nod. They seem okay so far.
Very well then. And he kind of, he kind of motions for you to, to leave the healing ward. And he kind of starts walking next to you, and you follow him back into the administrative offices. And he comes to this large oaken door, and he knocks on it. And you hear a voice, a very gruff voice, behind that says, "Enter." And he opens the door, and he goes, Highwan Gultan, Tahir has arrived. Initiate Tahir, Acolyte Tahir has arrived. And we have a situation with one of his friends. Would you mind taking a look at it? And as the door opens and you notice, as you turn to look inside, you see Galtan, who is a high one, is a Bahul, but they are sitting in a wheelchair. And he kind of wheels himself around and he turns and says, "Oh, of course, come in." And he says, "Thank you, brother." And he bows, the Taju bows, and you guys enter, and he closes the door behind you and makes his way back. He goes, so what's the problem? And he kind of wheels out from behind his desk. You notice that as he wheels out, he is missing the bottom half he's missing his legs from the knees down.
I say, as we were clearing out the temple in the Devil's Triangle, as instructed, some friends of mine came to help, Ziggy included. There were many undead there, and a necromancer, and at one point there was even a manifestation of Udarik. We've fought and dispatched them all, but my friend Ziggy was struck, and he was cursed with undeath, which I have removed, but there's still energy inside of him. Something that I've not seen before.
Interesting. And he kind of wheels over, he kind of turns kind of quickly in his wheelchair and comes to you. Ziggy goes, you are a small one, aren't you? Even at his height in the wheelchair, he's still twice the size you are. Right. And he looks down, and she goes, "Come here, young one." And as you get closer, you now notice that his left eye is gray. And there's a scar that kind of leads away from his eye. He looks down and she goes, "Oh." He places his hand on your head and he begins to whisper speak a prayer in words that you're familiar with to hear. And he kind of pauses and then he takes a deep breath. He goes, "You have been cursed. It looks like you've been cursed by Udarik himself."
Well, You'd be cursed. Might as well be cursed by the best.
Well, that goes without saying, I suppose. You're going to need to find a way to remove this curse from him. This is a very high level curse. I could possibly, it would take me a couple days to probably create a ceremony and to remove the curse from him, but it's not something that I would undertake lightly. He would have to remain with us this entire time. Now, exactly what this curse does, I'm not sure. I don't know. I think from what I'm understanding, that it might be a curse of torment and possibly unable to heal himself naturally. Urdotic is the lord of the undead, so as long as he is functioning correctly, there should be no problems. But you will need to figure out a way to remove the curse from his soul. We may even have to bring in the life protector to be able to handle this one. This one is fairly extensive. And if it was Urdotic that placed it, were you ever inhabited by a spirit?
Out of character, I don't recall if I had.
The Banshee?
We got tormented by a banshee.
Yes, that's what I'm feeling from you. Yes, you're going to need to spend some time in quiet meditation along with prayers to hopefully keep the curse from affecting your life beyond. But I can definitely set up some time to, I'll maybe even bring in the life protector, who is the high priest of the Church of the Law, to maybe attempt to remove this curse. But this, you have been tainted by Urdotic.
Okay.
But at least we know what it is, Sig, and we can figure out a way to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say, no good deed goes unpunished.
Come back in a day, and I might have I'll fashion together a brooch for you to reduce any major effects of the curse until we can figure out a way to remove it from you.
It's appreciated. Don't really want it to be trouble for you guys, but much appreciated.
And he turns to you to hear, and he goes, be aware of your friend. If he begins to exhibit evil qualities, you will need to bring him home.
Understood.
Until then, he then puts his hand back on you, Ziggy, and he says another prayer, and you feel the energy and the power of Elal kind of exude into you, and you feel very joyful and very confident suddenly. He goes, blessing upon you, young one. May Elal's love protect you.
Just look back at him, straight in the eye. I'll be there for you.
He smirks. Yes, it's that bad, Shelby. It is that bad.
Yeah.
And he goes, is there anything else I can do for you, Acolyte, to hear?
The temple we've run off as much as we could. There was one room we were unable to get into.
Yes.
Will need extensive cleansing and restoration work.
Well, now that you've actually have opened the temple and found out what was actually causing issues with that, what we can do is I will send some initiates with you to begin to truly cleanse the temple. And since you basically have cleansed it, we believe that the temple, the shrine, is yours. You are to take care of it. You are to man it and bring others into the light of Allah.
Of course. Thank you, High One. Right.
He then, he rolls over and he takes out a parchment and a pen and begins to write down some orders and stuff like that. He rolls it up and he gives it to you. He goes, take this to the captain of the soldiers of Allah, and he will ensure that things are taken care of for you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time, High One. I'll bow deeply.
And he
How
gives
about
you,
lower?
he gives you a wink and a smile and kind of makes his way over and says, and he starts to pour himself a wine and goes, "Blessings of Allah indeed."
Yep. We'll head on out of there and shut the door behind us. Are you okay, Zig?
I've got this damn curse. I'm not okay. Not happy. But we'll sort it.
Yeah.
Just do me a favour. If you see me turning into any of the things we saw in that deep, dark, horrible place, make sure I don't hurt anybody.
Of course. And we will find a way to fix this.
Yeah, well, fixing it might end up putting me in a crematorium, but
not unless it's my last option.
yeah. But you swear if I start turning, you'll deal with it, yes?
Of course. You have my word as a servant of Allah.
Do you, Samora, you hear this conversation going on, or what are you thinking?
This is not good. I think I will stay. I think it will be good news for you guys. If that is okay with you. Anyway, if you do start turning into something bad, not a good option. We might have to kill you, but that's the last resort.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always going to be the last resort. Sorry, we've had a busy couple of days. Do you have anywhere to stay in Dodora Shiva?
There's a few places I've crashed. I mean, the best place I had when I first sort of was out on my own on the streets, over towards the east side where all the bakeries are. There's a couple of roofs that are close together. For a couple of bakeries, you can get nestled in between the chimney stacks. Lovely and warm, and you're shielded from the wind and the rain. That's what I slept for about 3 years.
Okay. Well, I'm probably going to be staying at the temple from now on, and you're both welcome to stay there if you help with a couple of jobs around the temple, if that's okay.
That's absolutely
Nothing
fine.
so strenuous as we did yesterday.
Just, it's a really rough area, and you setting up a temple guard, some of the locals aren't going to be happy about it.
Yeah, I imagine, but they'll see the light eventually.
Thank you for the bits, Master Destroyer. I need to give me a second. Where are you? Should be at the very top, shouldn't you? Yes, there you go.
Right, next thing on my list is to get some fresh ammunition and maybe an upgrade for the gun. But we need to get these gems valued first.
That would be something that you could do along back to the southern district as you pass through the western district, which happens to be the merchants' quarter, the merchants district for all intents and purposes, if you like.
And we need to go give this letter to the guard captain as well. So if we do that and then rejoin with Gascon, we can swing by the merchants district on the way back to the southern district.
I hope he's not going to get himself into any trouble on his own.
Gascon? I don't think so. He's probably just getting paid. It was the church that sent him to help us after all, wasn't it? And to be fair, it's the Temple of Alal. It's quite difficult to get in trouble here. I should know. I was a novitiate here for most of my time.
Right. Yeah, so Gaston, what do you want to do next?
Go meet back up with them.
All right. As you guys begin to exit out, you see Gaston kind of making his way from across the grounds from another location of the temple, and you guys all kind of meet up there basically at the entrance to the temple grounds, which there's multiple entrances, but the entrance you came from.
Ah, there you are. Was
Before we
hoping
go,
I wasn't going to be too late.
races.
I'm sure they'll get them back to you within a day or so.
Okay.
Just before we move on, you're a priest, Mora.
No, I'm not a priest.
Okay.
To
Are
hear.
you a stealthy cat burglar?
No, I'm not stealthy
I
whatsoever.
didn't think so somehow.
You
What
see
is it,
what I'm
Casper?
wearing? Not stealthy whatsoever.
Um,
I have come to inform you that the job that I was that I come to assist you with is not a one-time deal anymore.
Fantastic. So you'll
I'm-
be hanging around.
As requested by, and sort of nod head back towards the church.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, you're good company, so thank you.
Yes. Well,
You get to quite the
I've-
entourage here.
I've been requested to stay under your employ, so
Fantastic. We do have a letter that we need to take to the guard captain that will get us some more initiates and support in cleansing the temple.
Mora, are you
yes,
able to
more-
check your Discord?
Hmm?
Are you able to check your Discord
Yep.
chats?
Um,
Because are you using your phone as your Discord stream? I just wasn't sure if you're able to use that. Yeah. So you take a small trip around to the other side of the temple, and just on the other side of this temple, as you begin to make it, there's an entirely new building that is almost from the sharp angles that it sits, it's triangular in shape, and in front of it is a large number of soldiers practicing and going through training routines and the like on the grounds. And there is a large Fen Kanor standing there barking orders, yelling at them. Not yelling at them in such a way that he is insulting them, but with a sort of dignity and grace that only church soldiers seem to be able to do. And what do you?
I'll stand politely off to the side again and wait until he's either finished or takes a break to come and speak to us. Like, I'm not gonna just barge up to him.
By the way he's speaking, they've just started, so it's up to you. You can. It's not. I mean, I don't think you're going to be interrupting him in any sense of the way, because he's drilling them. He's like yelling at them to pick up their slacking rear ends and look out for those thrusts and shields up. Keep guard.
What's his name?
Bahran.
Bathron.
Bah. B-E-H Ran. A-A-N. B-E-H B-E-H-R-A-A-N.
Bathron. Okay. Cool. I'll if he looks like he's just started, I'll just walk up to him and sort of bow politely.
And you guys are about the same, about the same. He looks at you and goes, "Can I help you?"
A letter from the high priest. I'll hand it over.
Takes it. He kind of unfolds it. Oh, you're here. I should
Yep,
expected. I should not have expected anything less. He rolls it up and he barks a command to for someone that's under aim. He kind of hands it to him and goes, "So, how was the tribulations? Yes. Just take it and get it done." And he's kind of muscles up to you. He's a very proud Fen Kunor. Not overly arrogant, but he kind of gives you the once over size wise, like it would be a good fight in his mind, right? Like, and stuff. He's like, "So I heard that you ran into some situations, and according to the note, the letter there from the High One, looks like you're going to be needing some assistance." And the way he says assistance is one of those backhanded like I'll help you kind of thing, but why would a priest of Elal need assistance?
I'll say that's probably most likely. We just finished cleansing, clearing out a necromancer's nest from a shrine to Alal in the Southern District, which we are reopening. But being the Southern District as well, now the necromancer is not there to keep them in check, then some additional security is almost certainly going to be helpful. Plus, the place needs a proper cleansing.
An infestation of a necromancer and undead. I should have been there. It would have been great battle indeed. And he slaps you across the back. He goes, "Well, at least you survived." And it's not a gentle slap. It's one of those, boom, like see how you respond to it.
Cool.
You surprised
I probably
surprised he hasn't folded.
Say again,
I
Giscon?
Sorry.
All right, go ahead to hear.
I probably sort of expected it, so I've probably just sort of planted my foot slightly ahead of one of the other, so like I can take the weight of it. Do you need me to make a roll to see if I don't go arse over tip?
No, it was hard, but it wasn't like he was trying to knock you over. It's one of those kind of like if you weren't prepared for it, you kind of like tilted a little bit. And he shakes his head approvingly, like, we need more of your kind.
Priest of Dynamo doesn't. But it was indeed a mighty battle, and I'd be more than happy to tell you about it over a beer at some point if you fancy.
Indeed. I will come down at some point in the next week, and we will have a good round and see what you've done with the shrine. A few minutes later, the underling comes running back and goes, "Lord, they're ready." And behind him, you see a guard of 20 soldiers of Alal, kind of just in good step, coming, marching up. And he looks at him and goes, "Guard the shrine well. Your commander is Tahir Tolgura. Respect his command." And you just hear, "Yes, sir," come from all of them.
I'll nod to them all, and I'll turn to their commander and say, "Thank you very much, and I'll see you later in the week."
And are you leaving? You plan on leaving?
Yeah, basically. Once we're out the gates, I'll give the soldiers directions to the shrine and tell them to make their own way there and get comfortable on the upper level, and I'll show them the lower level once we get there.
All right, so they kind of the one person who seems to be in command of this group says, "Aye, sir," and they kind of he yells out something in a voice like and they all start moving very quickly, very efficiently down the main road that leads into the Southern District from where they're at, and it's almost like they're triple timing it.
Cool. And then once they're gone, I'll say, "Zig, you needed to go restock your weapons. Does anyone else need to do anything in the city?"
Not at the moment.
Cool.
Mostly it's, there's the bag of gems. I'll just pat the pocket of the coat. That needs to be valued, because we can use that to get there, and anything left over we can put towards getting things for the church.
Cool. And we've still got some silver bars down in there as well, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of them's still on a piece of string.
Well, I tell you what, if you want to go with the others to sort out the appraisal and get buy what you need, I'll head back to the church. I'll show the soldiers around, and I'll use one of those silver bars to get enough food for distribution for tomorrow for the festival.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan.
Okay.
Plus, fact, all those soldiers idling about might attract the wrong type of attention.
It will be a very short-lived attraction.
Yes.
So what do you guys want to do individually? Ziggy, what is exactly you want to do?
First things first, get the gemstones evaluated. So,
Right.
Then go to a gunsmith's. I'm either looking to modify the gun I've got or get a better one. At the moment, it's only just a little 4-shot pistol. It's this having to take a bit of time to reload is a bit of a pain.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I want a Hollywood clip.
You want
runs
to
out.
you want a clip that never runs out. Yeah, okay, we'll work on that. So you're gonna go there. Gascon, are you gonna go with Tahir?
I'll go wherever I'm wanted.
Well, Ziggy's gonna go
So
is gonna go
he-
into the merchants district, the western district, and find some merchants to take the gemstones off his hands. So you can go with him. And Tahir, you're headed back to the shrine, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Mora, you can go. You make a decision where you want to go. If you want to go with Tahir, you can. If you want to go
I'll go with here.
Tahir, all right. So you and Tahir start making your way through. So literally, you have to pass from where you are through the western district down into the southern district, and that's going to take you about an hour of just normal walking. Gascon, what are you doing?
I'll go with Ziggy in that case. I don't want him on his own.
All right. So you and Ziggy. So Mora, and Tahir, you guys begin to make your way towards the southern district, and you get all four of you are making your way into the western district. And at that moment, Ziggy kind of says, I'll meet you at the shrine, and Gascon says, well, I'll stick with him as well. And they kind of peel off to go look for some merchants to take care of the gemstones. Anything else before we continue?
I've just realised I do need to sort spells out because I haven't actually done those for ranking up yet.
All right. I do need to take a bio break, so let's take a 10-minute break.
Okay,
Sounds
no
good
worries.
to me.
That
All right,
sounds like
brilliant.
a plan for me. So-
I always forget that when we go on break that I mute all of us so we can all talk while we're breaking, and then I forget to bring it back. So, no, just it's me. It's user error on this side. I need someone to be able to do this. So, funny story. So I actually I did an interview with Mike at Badly Games. And we did the interview on Thursday evening, and we were having a great time, and it was an hour and a half. He forgot, and because we were talking so much, he was so much into talking about the system, he forgot to hit record on the entire interview. So we did the entire interview again yesterday. So I totally get where that's coming from, because it's like you've got all these things on your mind, you're controlling all this other stuff, and it's a simple issue. So what we're back to, since I'll bring you guys up to speed with audio, Ziggy and Gascon are looking for a jeweler in the Merchant District or the Western District, as Tahir and Mora make their way back to the Southern District and to the minor shrine of Alal, and just trying to figure out where Ziggy wants to go. Ziggy asked if he could do a lore check to see if there's like a streetwise for this part of the city, and he hasn't really been involved in this part of the city. And it's not like anybody knows what Tiffany looks like, like Tiffany's or Jared's or any popular jewelry stores you might have in Britain. So you don't really know who would be better for you, who would have better prices, who would give you more stuff for that. Thank you, Cat and Tide, by the way, for all the subs. I appreciate that. What are you just going to go into the first shop you see and hopefully have good luck, or are you going to take a moment? You can do what's kind of
an information skill.
Right. I was going to say, you can either do a an information gathering attempt, ask the locals around you, or you could also do that's part of the information gathering skill.
Is it possible for me to help with this? Because I've got information gathering as well.
Knowing the right person and those kind of things. You can also just, hey, I know a guy. If you want to use that as well. If that's what you want to do, you can do, whatever. But yeah, so if it's going to be both of you looking for it, so what'll happen is, since he is going to be doing the main check, you can do what's called a synergy skill use. And basically what's going to happen is you're going to be helping him. You're going to be doing it. So basically what's going to happen is you need to roll against your lore. We'll call it streetwise, because there is a streetwise for you. And depending on how many successes you get, Gascon, you give Ziggy a bonus to his skill check. So go for it, Gascon.
Did you say lore streetwise?
Yeah, lore
or
streetwise.
Information gathering.
Well, you can use information gathering as well.
Because I do actually have information gathering.
Yeah, so go ahead and use your information gathering then.
That'll be 40 against 63, so that is
three successes. So he's going to give you a +5 bonus to your use of your information gathering, Ziggy.
I rolled a 22 with the skill of 44, so that gives me 3 successes.
So 3 successes. As you guys are wandering down, how do you do that? Are you just going to hey, who's the best jeweler in town? Or who do you recommend? How are you going to figure that out?
I'm looking for one that doesn't look sketchy, if you know what I mean.
Well, right, but you are in the Merchant District, and so they all, on their face, look like they are the best of the best of the theme of things.
Basically, if he's been a street kid, he knows the rough type, he knows the criminal types. You know the type of people that are selling stolen goods.
Right.
Your body language and the way they'll carry themselves. The way they'll furtively constantly checking around to make sure they're not being spied on.
Right.
That's
so the
that's
best
the sort of merchant I'm looking for.
Way to do that. So, okay. So again, I know what you're looking for, but how are you going to go about looking for that? Are you going to go, are you going to go press your face up against a glass of one of those stores? Are you going to stop, the people that are walking past you, who are, by the way, giving you this look like, geez, you are so a Southerner. And they kind of uncharacteristically kind of pull their their belongings closer to themselves because you don't look. I mean, both of you both look like you guys look like a Southerners. You guys look like Southern districtors, and they're like,
It's not that long since we've done a lot of fighting, so
which is often turned into some street fights, absolutely, and stuff. So, how do you want to go about doing this exactly?
it's what when seeing it in my mind's eye, it's more perceptive information gathering rather than verbal, if that makes sense. Think of it like Sherlock Holmes gathering information when he watches people.
Okay, so you spend about 30 minutes kind of just walking down the street slowly, looking at everything, and you notice this one shop that a lot of people seem to be coming in and out of. They're chit-chatting and talking very, very quickly, and it seemed very upbeat about it. And it just seems like they're very upbeat about it. They're coming in, they're leaving, they're talking really well about it. Do you want to go into that shop, or do you want to continue?
Yeah, we'll go with that one.
All right, very well. As you walk in, as you begin to make your way in, a couple of humans kind of are lavishing off of each other, and the one turns to the other and goes, "Oh, there's Southerners walking in. We must hurry, love." And the other one responds, "Yes, we must." And they both kind of hold each other's hands and get close to each other, and they kind of move off very quickly as you make your way into the door. And as soon as you open the door, you are hit with this, "Well, hello and welcome to Solace. How can I help you?" And this voice seems to be echoing throughout this part of the building, but you don't recognize, you aren't able to pinpoint where it's coming from.
Oh gods!
You reckon he's a?
I reckon we've made a terrible idea. We made a terrible choice.
Well, that's my life so far. A series of terrible but interesting choices.
Terrible choices.
Terrible choices. We've all somehow survived.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's no time like the present.
Hello. I'd like to have evaluation and possible trading of these items. I'll walk to the counter, looking around, looking for 2 exits other than the main door.
There's really only one entrance, and it's behind you that you can really significantly see. And then suddenly, almost like out of nowhere, this Balian kind of like pops up next to you, goes, and he's a little shorter than you, goes, "So you've got jewels for Solov, do you? Let's take a look." And he reaches forward quickly and grabs the small bag, or the leather bag that you have. He pops it open and he goes, "Ooh, these are finely crafted. And where did you come from these? Where did you find these? Who did you steal them from?" "Southerner."
Didn't need to steal them. We found them in the bottom of a temple.
"So you've been pilfering temples, have you?"
No, I've been working to clear it out.
He takes them. He zips around the counter that you guys kind of are at, and he suddenly is standing up on, looking up above it and looking down at you, and he lays them out there, and he goes, "Oh, you can pull up a stool if you can't see." And he lays them all out there. There was 6 of them, wasn't there?
I can't remember. You just described it as a bag of gems.
I believe there were 6 of them in total in there. And he lays them out, and he goes, "These are well crafted. Are you sure you didn't pilfer these from, other people?"
We're certain.
Trust me, no living person owns them.
And he kind of reaches, he kind of like bends over the counter and looks right at Gascon's face. His nose is kind of doing the sniffing. Goes, "You're of a bad quality, aren't you? A little kind of mischief, right? Kind of untrusting, I take it. But I am not the Southerner." And he kind of comes back and he looks and goes, "Oh, these are fine."
If Ziggy's looking anywhere near Gascon, you can see he's resisting the urge not to say something back to him.
It's okay.
He's got the vein popping on the side of his like on one side of his head, just like, don't talk smack until we're about to walk out the door.
Ziggy's tail is currently wrapping around the hilt of the dagger at the back of his belt, underneath his coat. He's not drawn it yet, but he's getting close.
He goes, oh, well, these gems are very finely cut. And if you can guarantee that you didn't pilfer these from, some local Westerners, I could probably give you some trade on these. Are you looking for a full undercut you? I have got the finest prices in all of Dadurashiva. You are dealing with Solif.
And yet you keep calling us Southerners like it's a bad thing. Do you expect us to not be skeptical?
It is what it is, isn't it, Southerner?
Yes, maybe it is, Westerner.
And proud of it. Anyways, he kind of looks down and he goes, this is a sapphire. This is and it's a transbluet kind of jewel. Do you have haggle, Ziggy?
Knowing me, no. But no, I don't.
Do you have convince?
I do. But
I do. At 54.
Do you have haggle, Gascon?
Nope. I only have convince.
So you're going to have to use your convince to try to haggle him, which is going to be a little bit more difficult. This is a fine looking.
I do have interrogate.
Well, that won't really work here. He goes,
take the police brutality route.
He looks at it. It's a fine looking stone, and he's going, I can give you 100 silver pieces for this one.
03.
On your convince?
On my convince.
What are you trying to convince him?
To put the price up.
Well,
so as he says that,
put the price up.
I just look at him and go, come on. We're both people of the world.
He only got one success on his hand. Goes, perhaps, and he sets it to the side. And he goes and he looks over at this other one. It looks like it's a metallic sheen, orange, translucent stone jewel. He goes, these are my favorites. They are fire opals, very expensive. I can give you 200 silver for this one.
Okay, I'll roll on the haggle. I'm going to try and push him to put the price up. That's a 92, so that's failed by two failures of that. So
you go and you're trying to push hey, that's a really good nice stone. He goes, I know it's a fine stone. I'm giving you the best price I can give you. I'm not going to steal from myself to help a Southerner, but I will treat you fairly. And he sets it off to the side. This other one.
Can I tell if he's actually treating us fairly and not actually being prejudiced against Southerners? I'm very suspicious.
That would require. Do you have skepticism?
I do.
That would require a skepticism roll.
That would be a 19 against 48. Which makes it
about 3 successes, 3 or 4 successes, right?
4.
So he even though he keeps calling you Southerner, you don't hear any malice in his voice. He is after all a Balian. And they have a tendency they are well known for their jesting and teasing and being able to get people to be irked by their words and their fast talk. That's what they do. They're Balians and they like to jest with people. So you're not hearing any true malice like he's trying to deceive you or take you. But, you are under the understanding that he is trying to make, he wants to give you a fair price, obviously, but without undercutting himself completely.
Yeah.
So it's not like what he's trying to
He's trying to pull me leg, not cut it off and make me pay for it to be put back on.
Right. Yeah. He's just, he's mostly jesting with you from what you can tell. Basically, yeah. He's not trying to take your legs off and then try to sell it back to you. And he goes, "Oh, that's a fine one."
One careless owner.
Let's see here. We have a I should have had these written down first, and I apologize.
No, don't
That's
worry
all
about
good.
it.
And he kind of goes through these other ones. And he pulls up this one. And he goes, "Oh, this is a clear one. This is a very nice one." He goes, "I can give you 400 silver pieces for it. Nothing more."
No, come on. I had one of those a couple of years back, and it sold for at least 5 times that.
Then you must have had a fake one, because there's no way that this could have been worth 5 times what you had.
2 successes on.
Yeah, he just kind of
staying out of the convention.
he kind of chuckles at you and goes, "Nice try, Maddox, but no, you are dealing with Solid. I give you fair prices all the time." And he puts that to the side. And actually, go ahead and make an intelligence check, both of you.
Straight intelligence.
Yep, straight up.
That'll be
One success.
one success.
What about you, Zig?
1 success.
Yeah,
It's
we
a-
both got 1.
Yeah. You're pretty sure it's a diamond, but you're not sure. And it's just.
We're gonna get screwed, aren't we?
Can I, before he goes through the rest of the gems, can I sort of recognize any of them?
So as you're going through them, go ahead. Do you have an appraising, or let's see here, make a lore check, which is basically going to be 30 plus your intelligence modifier for
Any particular lore
gemstones.
check or just
Gemstones.
a lore check?
Just gemstones.
Okay, it's 30 plus intelligence, you said,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that'll be 38. That's a crit fail.
A critical
I
fail.
believe. 97.
Yeah. You have no idea what these stones are looking like.
They look like pretty glinting rocks.
That's basically what they appear to be for you. Shiny rocks. They go click click when he uses them. So he picks up another one and he goes, this is a simple topaz. It's not worth much. I can give you maybe 100 silver for it. Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Vox Artifacts.
There's also a posture check in there, apparently.
Oh, posture check.
I don't even know what that means.
Snap back in. You snap your spine back into place.
Right. I'm kind of leaning and hunching down. And he goes, but I can give you 100. And he sets that off to the side. He takes this last one and goes, ooh, this is a fine stone. Fine emerald. It's what we call in the business a Scarlet Emerald. Are you impressed? Solif is impressed. And it's a brilliant blood red gem that is cut in a circular, smooth fashion. And he goes, I could probably part with this, give you 500 silver for it. I see you are not complaining anymore.
I think that's worth a fair bit more. Is there any way I might know if it's actually what he said it is? A Scarlet Emerald?
You would have to do like a lore gemstone jewel check, which would be 30 plus your intelligence modifier.
Okay, so pretty slim chance then. However, I've just rolled a 17. Oh, I rolled so good, he's left the room.
Yeah, you rolled so well, I had to leave. No, one of the cats was like, "Hey, let me out," and he was banging at the door. He is actually you've heard of these before. These Scarlet Emeralds. They are a brilliant blood red stone that's can be anywhere from 500 to 1,000 or 1,500 silver pieces, depending on the quality and the cut.
Come on, mountain man.
Say again?
You know that's worth. Said, come on, man to man. You know that's worth a lot more.
Perhaps, but I'm only going to offer you 500 silver pieces for it. I mean, I don't want to cut my own wrists, trying to
You know,
give you Southerners a better cut than you deserve.
you will also make a lot of profit when you sell it, because to you, the selling is the art.
Yes, 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 yes. Of course it is.
It's just a way of keeping score, really, isn't it?
But as a Southerner, you could do so much with 500 silver pieces. Really?
We are doing this for the church, and we're trying to improve the quality of
Oh,
life.
you're doing it for the church. Well, then I can definitely help you out. I can give you 400 silver pieces for it. Because you know the churches, they have a lot of money.
I didn't say which church.
And I'm sure they have more money than less money than you, rather.
Are you saying that to him or to Matt or to Ziggy?
I'm saying it more to myself
Hmm.
in this case.
He kind of ruffles his whiskers at you and goes, perhaps, but they are churches.
True enough.
And then he picks up
Yes,
this.
If
surely,
you can put the price up for the
surely
Scarlet,
you'd like.
you
Surely
know
you'd
you're
like to
going to
one-up?
sell that for double whatever you give me for it, at least.
Maybe, perhaps. I've got to get, you also have to understand, Southerner, that I have to ensure that these stones were not pilfered. So I'm taking your word on it that these were found legitimately and without consequences.
Would a letter from a member of the Church of Alal, a senior member of said church, where we've just gone from, would be sufficient?
Would you take me for some fool? Those things can be copied and done easily enough.
Well,
Listen.
then we would.
He picks up this last stone and he's kind of like, you can feel him getting a little irritated with you. And he looks at this and goes, this is what we call a star sapphire. It's a dark blue with a star-shaped pattern on its face. For this, I can cut you in at 250 silver pieces.
I think that definitely worth a bit more as well.
Well, in total, I can give you for all these wonderful gemstones and jewels that you have said that you didn't pilfer, for a grand total of
1550. Let's call it 1800.
for 1800. Are you asking me to cut my own throat? I can give it to you for 1600. Nothing more, nothing less. You want it?
You know
Well,
you're going to sell it. You know.
Well, then roll a convince check. Roll that convince check.
Don't fuck me, dice. Don't fuck me, dice. The dice have fucked me. 99.
You have heroic luck.
I have heroic luck. I'm ignoring.
Don't forget that shit.
Yeah, you may want to re-roll that because with a critical failure like that, it could backfire on you.
For a critical failure.
For a critical failure, it's 3 now. Yep.
Right, so it drops me to 7. Zero 2.
So you gain one of your heroic luck back.
There you go.
And what were you trying? You were trying to convince him to go up a price?
I was trying to convince him to go to 1800.
He sits back and he
And
kind of
the main
like.
thing is, I'm trying to convince him that he knows he's going to sell it for more, and he's a skilled haggler. Basically, sugarcoat it a little bit for the convince.
He kind of like pulls on his
You're-
whiskers a little
You're
bit,
not
kind
just
of.
telling him that he's. Yeah, you're not just
Go on.
telling him that he's going to sell it for double, but that he's good at selling it for double.
Yeah,
Essentially,
stroke his
he
ego.
knows he can guarantee it.
He's stroking his whiskers, and you see his tail kind of come up, and it kind of flourishes into like a poof, and then goes back down, and poofs up again, and goes. All right, Southerner, I will cut you in a deal. I will give you 1800 for these, but nothing more. You scoundrel, you Southerner.
Okay.
Coming from a bailiff, that's quite a compliment.
See you next month.
And he gives you 1800 silver pieces
Mm-hmm.
for all of that. And he actually cuts it out into, he doesn't give you a bag of silver. He cuts it out into, what am I thinking? I think what I'm gonna do.
The small, well, denominations that aren't as numerous, I imagine.
Yeah, he gives you
In that regard,
he gives you 5 red steel pieces, which are equivalent to 100 silver pieces each, and then the rest in gold. Actually, no,
10 to 1.
it's a 10 to 1. So he'll give you 10 of them. He'll give you 10 red steel pieces for them. That's equivalent to 100 silver pieces each, and then he will then he'll give you 80 gold pieces.
So how many gold pieces did you say?
80.
80.
80.
80.
Right.
And now as you guys, he's like, thank you for coming to Solace, where we trade with fine southern folk now.
We'll make sure to point people in your direction.
And as you guys begin to
All the southern
turn,
people.
as you guys begin to turn and begin to exit, you now notice these 2 stone-like figures that are finely detailed in their construction, kind of just standing next to the door that you weren't really paying attention to them when you walked in. But there's these
Incredibly lifelike.
incredibly lifelike, and they're upwards of 10 feet tall each.
Say
Okay.
nothing and leave.
I could run between the legs.
Possibly, but they're not barring your doorway. In fact, they're not even moving. They just are incredibly well detailed and constructed, and they look incredibly lifelike, finely chiseled. And he waves, "Goodbye." Solomon says goodbye.
Goodbye, Solomon.
Wave hand behind. As we leave, wait until the door shuts, and then turn to Ziggy. We need to point the church in this direction, and not for a good reason.
And as you do so, as you leave and you begin to have this conversation, another couple kind of were making their way up to you, and they kind of like turn and go the opposite direction from you.
Okay.
They don't trust us. All those comments about Southerners, by the way, that's just what his kind does.
Oh.
They're pulling your leg. They're not trying to rip it off and sell it back to you. He was.
Who would do
I
that?
assume
Why
being
would you
honest.
buy your own severed leg?
Because some people are incredibly skilled at making you do that. And not in a good way.
So
I want to meet it. I want to meet the merchant that can chop your leg off and sell it back to it in a good way. That would be interesting. Anyway, let's go find the gunsmith.
Someone who, for say your leg was cursed, they had to amputate it, they fixed it and gave it back to you.
Yeah, let's not hover on the subject of curses, shall we?
No, of course not. But speaking of which, those statues, they rub me the wrong way.
I'll have a chat with Tahir when we get back about it.
They're incredibly lifelike. Something that detailed doesn't seem particularly normal.
You're talking to a rat person in a city full of all different people. What the hell's normal?
Oh, Water Lily, you're
There's
making cookies? That's not fair. And you're not going to be able to share. Hello? That's not fair.
Unfortunately, there is a certain bar that normal falls under even in this entire city, and I think those statues just about managed to limbo underneath them.
Oh, no. Tahir and Mora, you, after about an hour of walking and kind of making your way through the western district, you finally come to the shrine and in the southern district, and you've noticed that the soldiers are not in front of the temple.
Okay.
And as you
I'll
go ahead.
carry on.
No, carry on.
No, I'll head inside and see if I can see them indoors.
You make your way inside, and they are all kind of standing, with their shield at their side and, a spear Some have spears, some have their blades, and they're all just kind of standing in a line inside the shrine, which is about 30 feet deep and about 15 feet wide, I think we said last time. And that it was about 10 feet tall. Hey, Wayfinders Guild, how are you? Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. And they're all kind of just standing there waiting for orders.
I'll
Where's-
ask the guy in charge if there was any trouble.
No trouble, sir. Made our way fine.
Fantastic. Brilliant. I'll show you around the downstairs, and then we can get started on making this place better. So I'm going to take him, and I'll leave like 2 or 3 of them upstairs, just guarding the entrance.
Okay.
And then I'll take the rest down into the shrine beneath the temple beneath the shrine, basically.
Okay. So you leave 3 of them up top. Mora, are you going to go with him?
Yeah, I'm a bit right now. So.
Right. And so you guys make your way down into the underlayer of the shrine that, if it was there originally, like we said originally, it was never really known and has been used by the necromancer that had taken residence there. And Mora, as soon as you kind of make your way in there, you're assailed with this this scent with your senses of rot and death, as though, I mean, it's almost overwhelming. Like it's almost like a gag reflex for you as you kind of enter here. And even some of the soldiers, you notice, kind of put a hand up to their face like this, just to try to reduce the amount of smell that they have in here. And Tahir begins to take you down through the 3 levels. So there's 1 level that you go down into, and then there's 2 levels below that. And the one that really bothers everybody the most is the room with the hanging corpses that you guys originally came into. I don't remember. Did you guys take them down, or did you leave them? Because remember, this has only been about 8 hours since you guys finally came out.
Yeah, the watch came and took them away.
Right. It was the watch, right? Yeah. So the watch came out. And so the watch is still kind of maneuvering some of these bodies out of the way, but a lot of them actually did flee, right? They actually did flee because they're like, we're not dealing with this. This is way out of our wheelhouse. So some of them are still there. Some of the bodies are now laid on the ground, and a couple of them are still hanging in the sky, in the air from the ceiling. Moira, I need you to make a horror check. And that'll be on your character sheet on the front side down in the small gray box.
Which one was it already? Which one again? Horror.
In the small grey box on the front of your character sheet, there's versus horror check.
Yep. I got a 46, and my horror check is 75.
So you when you finally make your way into this room, to like, as you're following Tahir, because Tahir takes you down to another level, you are astonished by the cruelty and manner by which this room was done. And it's actually, this room and the room above you is what's causing the smell to actually really be intense. And they're still kind of, the soldiers who walk in kind of look to Tahir like, are you sure this is where you need us? And there are piles of, trigger warning to everybody who's listening, piles of the remains of innards and guts laid about in this particular room that was being used. It is a horrific sight indeed. And actually, I think Ziggy, when he first came into this room, had severe issues with it because of the cruelty that it was of which it was done. And then Then, so you need to give commands to here to what you want
Yep.
them to do, to let them do. And then once we're done with that, I'll jump back to Ziggy and his.
So what I'm doing down here is just familiarizing them with the place so that they know what it is we're dealing with and what we need to do and what the layout of the place is, because there is a secret entrance to the entire temple down in the bottom here, which if they're part of guarding it is going to be a thing. I'll probably have some of them, the ones that look like they've got a bit of a stronger stomach, help the watch in removing the bodies. So the first step is to get all the bodies out of there, and then start blessing and sanctifying and cleansing the place of its like spiritual impurity. I'm also going to send some of them out to find cleaners just for the temple above for the moment. So cleaners and stonemasons and that kind of thing. Also, because there's the festival tomorrow, I'm gonna send some to buy foodstuffs. Basically, and I'll just give them, and yep.
Keep going. I'm listening.
I'll probably send them to a money changer first with the silver bars we found. And then basically my plan is to slowly start cleansing and rehabilitating the temple down here. Once it's cleansed and cleared, then we'll start getting in stonemasons and all that kind of stuff to clear it, to undo the damage that was done to it, basically, to restore the
Yeah, because there's a lot of work that has to be done because of the
desecration.
the desecration of Udarik throughout the bottom portion of this little temple.
Yeah. So
and-
there's like two main workflows I'm trying to get organized, which is the first one is cleansing and clearing and rebuilding down below, and the second one, which is probably a lot quicker, is getting the temple upstairs cleaned and ready for people to come in, basically.
Right.
But the below ground bit is probably going to be off limits to everyone but church personnel for a while.
Okay, brilliant. So you set them to their tasks. They begin, they're going to begin cleaning and stuff like that. Even though they're soldiers, they quickly put their weapons down and they pull out their packs, and they all have various equipment with them, but they all carry this large assortment of holy waters and oils. And they pull out their rags and they literally start scrubbing the place down with water, fresh water and holy water. And some of them, while they are soldiers of Elal, they are all initiate priests like you, they're trained in war more than they are trained in the face of the church, but they are all priests, and they all begin, you feel the energy of Elal kind of returning as they are saying their prayers, as they are doing their cleaning and stuff. And they start with the one portion of the under temple, or the under shrine, that you fought the necromancer in, and the main soldier, we will call him we will call them Dre, turns to you and goes, "Sir, this is going to take us some time down here. I would suggest perhaps having the 3 remaining soldiers up top begin cleaning that portion for the festival that you mentioned for tomorrow, if you wish to bring people in. It looked pretty damaged as well. It looked like there was smoke damage or something of the sort happening. And I also felt the presence of evil up there as well. So I would have them begin their petitions to Elal to cleanse and sanctify the area.
Yeah, I'll have them start on that as well. The ones upstairs. Do I have any kind of spell that would sort of like purify an area? I know there's like Hallow, but I don't think I can cast that.
That is the most That's probably the most effective one that is available, but you don't have access to it right now.
I think it's PR. I can do up to PR6, I think.
That's
PR8. Yeah.
That's a PR8, and I think you are now PR3 through 4.
3 through 4. Okay.
Right,
Cool.
because you took Legendary Divine, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so I think that opens up the next level of spells for you, all the way up to PR4, I believe.
Yeah.
That's a good question. You'd have to actually take a moment and actually go through the spells. And I think you've got the player's guide. Beginning on page 240 is the divine spells any, and then on page 242 is the beginning of the spells for good.
Yep.
There's nothing that actually will do what you want to do outside of Hollow.
Yep.
In
which case, we'll just do it the hard work way.
Right. You just
grease.
Yeah.
Elbow grease and holy water.
Right. I think that's really all you're going to be able to do. And again, these guys, the soldiers that are with you they're initiates, right? They're barely into doing this, but they are trained as soldiers. So if you have a fight, these are the guys you want. But they're in the process of going through the rites of becoming full priests, which takes a little bit of time and stuff like that. But the Dre Moody is his name. He's captain of this team for you. But he's the one who's giving you these recommendations. And they kind of start doing a chant as they do it, as a chant of prayer to Elal, and it starts to echo, and it seems to get louder and louder, even though they haven't raised their voices. It's just the echoing resonance within this chamber. And you're starting to feel this magical, the divine energy, kind of almost fighting with what is down here as it's beginning to cleanse the entire chamber. And Dre kind of mentioned to you that it's going to take a good couple weeks for us to cleanse this of the vileness that's been down here for many decades.
Yeah. That was my expectation. I'll probably write to the main temple and see if we can get some
additional help.
Additional help with it. Yeah,
probably be a good idea. All right, Mora, anything that you want to do?
See if I can help out, like with removing bodies or anything like that.
Right. Now, as a priest, Mora is female, correct? I just want to make sure I have that correct.
Yeah.
As a priestess of Hadak, you are disturbed by the unhonorable death of all these individuals down here, the sacrifice that was made without it being a battle. You and Tahir can talk about, the two churches kind of working together to maybe do something, but that would be between you and Tahir. This shrine was originally a temporary shrine as a outreach from the main church for the Southern District for this particular portion. And it's been closed for what 25 years, didn't I say, Tahir, something like that?
Yeah.
Because it just wasn't taking off, and actually some of the priests were actually ran off by the populace who didn't want to hear the word for all intents and purposes, and they instructed Tahir to see if he can reopen the temple and bring it back to life, or the shrine. And then they discovered this whole under temple that was being used by Udarik, who's the god of the undead and is a holy evil being, had been slowly creating and sacrificing in an attempt to bring a darkness to this portion of the Southern District. And there's a lot of these temples that exist throughout the city as cults of Zehak and Udarik pop up every now and again. And this one was a major infection that Tahir was asked to clean. They didn't even know it was there until he stumbled onto it, which is confounding most of the church at this time. So it's up to you. If you guys want to talk about that, you can do that in Discord, in the chats, if you want. Back to Ziggy and Gascon. You guys are in the Western District. People are kind of avoiding you, but some don't care. Others are like literally, if you're walking down a straight line, they do this big circle around you, right? They're like, no, we're going all the way around because you're a Southerner. And you make your way down past what would be considered like Fifth Avenue of New York, or I don't know if you have something what that might be like in London or something like that. But you finally make your way into more of the trades portion of the merchant district, where there are activity of selling of large crates and goods and those kind of things. On the edge between the two districts of the Southern District and the Western District are where you find a lot of the manufacturing occurring, and shops like that would be more interested in what you're looking for. And you said you were looking for a gunsmith, correct?
You're a gunsmith. Yep.
You take about you kind of do the same thing that you did in the middle of the Western District, where you're kind of listening and doing information gathering, and you kind of finally come across a shop that's called the Exploding Brimstone. And you kind of peer in, and there's both Westerners, I guess is a new term, and Southerners kind of intermingling in this shop, and you can see this really robust Kova. No, I'm sorry, Tajahu. Kind of dealing and wheeling and dealing with shop patrons and like that, and he's selling rifles, he's selling swords, and he's selling pistols and those kind and those various needs for that. On to you.
Excuse me, sir.
Pauses for a moment, looks down and goes, yes, how are you?
Don't lean.
One moment, let me
too hard.
let me finish with this one right here. Yes. And they finish a transaction, and you can see him reaching back. One of his assistants has brought him this long, thin, wrapped up this item wrapped in, and finally there goes, it needs to be oiled at least once a week. Be sure that you check the chambering before you fire it. It may explode on you if you do not. And we take no liabilities or insurances on that it doesn't happen. It's on you now, as you are the owner. And they all kind of chit chat for a moment, and they kind of leave, and they leave. And he turns to you, goes, so how may I help you?
I will reach down carefully. I'm not a big flashy. Pull out the gun, put it on the counter.
that has seen better days.
Oh yes.
Hmm.
It served me very well. Now, I'll come into some cash. I want to either upgrade what I have or get something new. Something that holds a few more rounds, perhaps. Something a little better quality.
Perhaps we can help you with that. I can help you with that. Now, when it comes to this particular gun, and he picks it up in kind of the same fashion you did, kind of with two fingers, kind of like he's repulsed by it, and he's like looking at it. He's like, it has seen better days, has it not? I can see that it's a 4-chamber that looks like you have to load every time you're done with it. That's a standard, good quality pistol, but with there's some rusting here, and it doesn't look like you've been taking as good as care of it as you should. It's a miracle it didn't blow up in your face. I'm sure it jammed a couple of times, though.
Oh, yeah.
And he takes it. He goes, do you really want me to upgrade you to this? And he kind of starts to move away from you and kind of pulling you with him. And he takes you into this one section. Or would you like to purchase one of these newer ones?
I'm always open to a good deal. What have you got on offer?
So he has got a very large assortment of pistols, rifles, and he even proudly he buffs up. So he goes, I've also gotten a new supply of energy blasters, fresh from the Void Station Abrun.
Never actually handled an energy blaster before.
Oh, they are quite excellent. He pulls one down and he hands it to you, and it's a pistol. It's about the same size as your pistol, but when you go to pick this up, it's extremely light. I mean, really light comparatively, right? And he's like, this thing will continue to fire hundreds of times. However, you must take breaks with it, otherwise the energy that helps with the generation of the energy that you use as a blaster can overload at times and explode. So you don't get to take on nonstop, but you don't have to reload it every time. The crystal, and he kind of takes it from you and he pops it open, and you can see in there's this local crystal, which is the energy source for this. And it goes, this right here, this is a black local crystal, and it will last you 400 or 500 shots before it needs to be replaced. However, again, local crystals are very dangerous, and you need to be very careful. Do not use it to strike anything with. That's harder than, say, a fleshy
Just
human.
don't strike anything with it.
Just don't drop it. And be sure that if it starts to get hot, that you give it a moment to cool down before firing again, because there is a risk that it will explode. And when a local crystal explodes, if you've never seen one, imagine being hit by a giant's hammer in such a way that it actually causes a pit to occur for you and a blast radius of dozens of feet, killing most anything that around it. So you should be careful. Very high quality weapon though, and it doesn't come without certain restrictions to price. Now you do have to have a firearm. What are they called? Firearm like licenses that you must have for these. Very few people have these in Dardur Shiva. They're very expensive. And since you said you've come into some cash and some silver, this might be right up your alley. Now, I have even finer qualities of this, which, of course, raises the price.
Yes. What have you got in the more conventional?
Oh, and the more conventional, I see. So you want to see more conventional. He takes that from you and puts it back in the rack.
I'm not used to that sort of thing, you see.
He pulls it down and he goes, well, we do have these pistols, and it's an assortment of pistols. There are some that have what am I thinking? I'm not into guns, but guys, all that much. What are they called? Not chambers, but
Cylinder.
No, the
Magazine.
the magazine. Thank you. The magazine that can hold up to 10 shots each before you have to reload. And then we have these other ones that it's a rotating barrel that allows you to shoot between 6 and 8 times, depending on which one you choose. And then we have the more conventional ones that allow you to shoot once or twice. And those, of course, come in various qualities, depending on what you are looking for.
I had a look at one of the magazine fed.
Ah, brilliant. He pulls it down, and when he picks it up and hands it to you without the magazine, and it's fairly weighty. And he goes, that's an average quality. I have this much more significantly better built, which is of a great quality, which will cost you a bit more. Those tend to jam if you do not take care of them as effectively and as efficiently as you should, meaning that you need to clean them at least once a day during use. These other ones you can probably get by with a week's worth of maintenance. What are you looking for?
I'm more to the conventional side, but I'm liking the look of the magazine fed, particularly that large one. I point at the one that looks like a broom-handled Mauser, sort of.
All right, so he pulls that one down.
Han
Solo's pistol, right?
Yes.
It's like, yes, this is actually a fine quality. It's actually built by the Doctrine Brothers, and they guarantee their work that it won't blow up in your face. I have my tendencies to not believe them, but I've never had anybody who's bought in one of these come back and say it's blown up in their face. At least that have lived. That have lived. So do you want, and this is a great quality pistol, Ziggy. So it's going to cost you
extra 750 on the base cost.
1,250 silver pieces for this quality. It would be a magazine capacity of 10. And then, of course, it comes with lead bullets that you would have to put in.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
All right, brilliant. So, so basically, nothing changes for you for for your pistol damage. What does change though is because it's great, its malfunction range goes from what it was for 80 through 96. Now it's only 90 through 98 on a roll, so it only critically fumbles for you on a 90 through 98 for a malfunction when it malfunctions. You still have a roll. If you fail 96 through 100, it just doesn't. It won't fire, and it's either going to be it just doesn't fire, or it's a malfunction 90 through 98. It just malfunctions, meaning that you're going to have to take a minute to unjam it. And if it's a severe malfunction, there's a 25% chance that it will also explode.
Yeah. And I'll get 200 rounds of ammunition while I'm here as well.
All right, very good.
Which is cost per bullet. Lead bullets, 1 silver piece per bullet, so that's another 200.
Yep.
So that's 10,000.
And so he as you're doing this, he's packing it all up for you. He brings out a nice, what looks like a something of a case for it. It's a square like case that's made of a very fine like teak wood. And he places it in there, and he hands you the bullets, which do come in a large bag. He goes, I'm also going to throw in an extra magazine for you. And he throws another magazine in there, and he pops that down, and he gives it to you. He goes, well, thank you for the business, Mr. Smith. Ah, yes, Mr. Smith. And he gives you a wink. I hope you have good hunting with this.
And my colleague, Mr. Weston here. Thank you for it, both of us.
And the puns just keep punning.
It never ends.
It never ends.
Just be glad I'm not 44 years of age.
But you would at least, if you were 38, you'd be special.
Oh,
Yes.
oh
Oh,
ouch.
I'm just glad I'm not. I am 33, so I'm close.
Thanks for the game, guys. I'm just going to die here.
Yeah, thank you all. We're done with that pun, so we'll see you
You're
later.
not a 20 ball.
Oh,
why?
why?
Because it's me.
It's because it's
I know
Ziggy.
it's you, but why?
Because it's him. So you guys spend an hour doing that, finally figuring that out. So it's been a couple of hours, and it's getting close to the evening time, and you guys make your way back to the Southern District. Mora and Tahir, you guys have taken your time and started cleaning up the temple. Did you guys want to talk about what you guys wanted to do? Do you want to do like a Doc and Elal team up, or what do you guys want to do?
We had like a quick sidebar about it, and I'm going to keep on with getting the temple clean and ready for the festival tomorrow, and sorting out some tables and some food we can put outside to just give to people for free. And sorry, what was your character's name again?
Mora.
There we go. Is going to help with getting the bodies removed and make sure that they're properly buried and taken care of, and if possible track down the families of the victims and at least give them the news.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be something that takes some time, because a couple of the reasons. One, you had some of the bodies removed by the Watch, which they've taken down to the local morgue. Some of them, again, as part of the description, is that the heads were removed.
Yep.
For various reasons, as well as other things that were removed. And so that's going to take some time, and it's definitely gonna take some investigating to do, and it's not something that's gonna be able to happen right now. That's something you can work on over the length of however you want to, or you could, the morgue themselves, the morticians will definitely be doing that anyway, because they want to, someone needs to pay for the graves if it's not going to be the city. And of course they want to make sure that the bring their loved ones back to those who are missing, and perhaps they have a funeral procession, and of course
Yeah.
that's always going to be some silver involved.
Well, if there's any of the bodies where they can't track down the individuals involved, I'll cover the funeral expenses. Not like lavish funerals, but like something at least. What? Shaking your head?
You're not paying attention to the Twitch chat?
Oh dear God! You're both terrible.
They're horrible.
Barrel of laughs.
Endless.
Ah.
So yeah, that's the plan. And if you want to give me a hand, like blessing this place, and sort of cleaning it, I've actually got craft holy item now. I took it as my level 5
Oh,
ability,
brilliant.
so I can make holy water, I think, quite
Yes,
easily.
very easily.
So I can keep the supplies of that running for us. And there's also a buttload of magic items we found in the basement that I need to identify as well. So
Oh yeah, I've got that. What happened with that ring, by the way, that I used? The one that copied me.
You still have it.
Does it still seem functional?
If you haven't, yeah, you are the copy. The ring or you?
Yes.
It still seems functional. I mean,
I'm
you
not
haven't
gonna
tried to
try
use
out.
it.
I'm not gonna try it out in the open. That's just real weird. But good to know.
yeah,
So-
so I think I'm going to collect all the loot, as it were, from the bottom of the temple and put it in one specific room.
Okay.
And then as and when I get time in between cleaning and making holy water and arranging for getting, I want to get the love to the point where I can hold a mass in it tomorrow morning. Is the plan, at least.
I will offer my services as well.
Sweet, that's brilliant.
I do work for
then-
you.
Yeah. Actually, that's great. If you can go to the inns nearby and work out where they get their food supplies from, and like if it's local, then go arrange for some deliveries for us. That'd be
of
great.
course.
Now, is that something? Okay, so it's about mid-afternoon. Well, actually, early afternoon, like 3 or 4 bells for all intents and purposes. So it's going to start wrapping up very quickly. So you and Mora are going to spend the rest of the afternoon, most of the evening cleaning.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
basically.
And then
Yep.
Gascon, you want to go and try to track down suppliers for food,
Yeah.
correct? And then Ziggy, what are you doing?
I'm going to help out the church. I'm going to use my new power, walk up the outside wall and check the roof.
Okay, brilliant. You get to. We'll start with Ziggy. Ziggy's going to be the easiest. You kind of walk up the side of the temple or the shrine. You get up to the top. There are a couple of holes up there from weather that could use some repair. Absolutely. Other than that, it looks fairly solid. You can definitely still smell the smoke residue left over from the fire that happened in the shrine when you guys first entered. Other than that, it looks fairly stable.
I'm also scouting out as a location to sleep.
Well, again, you guys have kind of made your rooms over at the Unicorn and Fox. That's where you guys have been kind of hanging out in the evenings. That's where you guys first went, and then you went to the Ishtal Tavern for drinks. But you've been hanging out at the Unicorn and Fox, which is, again, like I said, right across the street. The kind of cat corner to it, where the Ishtal is almost directly in front of the shrine itself. So go ahead.
The last thing I will be doing, I'll be giving Tahir some of the leftover gold from the gems. I'm going to keep 5 gold coins for myself, and the rest, which is 35 left, I'll be giving to Tahir for the church.
Okay.
Thank you.
That works. So Tahir, make sure you write that down because that's going to be part of your supplies that you're going to be you'll be pulling from, and obviously the church supplies. You guys are going to be doing that. Gascon, how do you want to go about doing this?
It's basically going to be a case of going around, seeing what. Well, basically, it'll be a case of I don't just want to wander in and be like, "Hey, where'd you get your food from?" Because it might be I wander in somewhere and it seems a bit forward to me. So it's more like I'm going to go in, order something that seems that I can easily compare between all the places, and then just be like, "Oh, this is really nice. Where'd you get it from?"
Okay,
If
so
you
that
don't mind me
takes
asking.
right. No, that takes you. That takes you about an hour, and they and most of the especially over at the inn that you're staying at, the Unicorn and Fox, they're pretty open with you about it. They have daily deliveries brought in from several farms that are just outside the city. They get their baked goods from Dora's Baking up the street. They get their meats from a specific butcher, which is a little bit further down, and those kind of things.
Yeah, thank them for all of that, and see if we can. I'll report back. Wait, I can't remember what he said now. Do I go and order for them now, or just go and report back to him first? If in doubt, go ask the boss.
Hmm.
Report back to here, basically say, "This is what I've been told. What do you want me to do now?" Or do you want to let someone else handle it from here?
No, that's great. Can you go put an order for basically what I want to do is outside the front of the temple, I want to have some tables for tomorrow for the festival where anyone who's hungry can come and get food. Because it's part of our religious duty to feed the poor. So here's like what would be a reasonable amount to feed like enough people for like a couple of hours? Maybe 200-300 silver, something like that.
Yeah, probably.
100 silver.
Yeah.
Cool. Like I'll give you like 200 silver out of the church's stock, and just be like, just go order enough food for that. Stuff that's like hard wearing, easy to like keep. Maybe see if they can. No, it's too short a time to organize like an actual like cook thing, but like maybe just bread and cheese and meats um and a couple of barrels of beer, basically.
All right, so so as you go out and do that, you're going to end up spending all the silver, but you end up getting from the master of the cards over at the Ishtal Tavern. He's willing to part with a couple of barrels of mead, but he charges you a lot more than you probably think you are because you're almost going to be directly competing with him for free. So he charges you a little bit more than that, but the baked goods and the various meats, which I'm thinking you're talking more like sausages that are, like salamis and those kind of things,
Yeah.
right? Dried meats.
Yeah.
And all that. Gascon takes you about 2 or 3 hours to get it all organized, and they're very grateful. They're very the individual they're surprised that someone's actually trying to do something with the shrine. When the last time it happened, the priests were driven off by large crowds, and they wish you luck in this adventure that you're trying to do, and they hope that this works for you for the festival for tomorrow. They'll have the goods delivered first thing in the morning. They'll take the evening to put it all together and things like that. The tables and stuff like that, you guys are gonna have to figure that out for your own. It's not hard. There's a builder like a wood crafter that is within a couple blocks of the shrine, and they're more than welcome to more than happy to allow you to use some of the tables for a small fee, of course, and a promise that they won't be broken before you return them. And they're delivered that night fairly quickly.
We'll also sort out like a watch rotation on the shrine, just to make sure there's no problems. So like a couple of guards on it.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the duties that the guards were just gonna take up anyway. They're gonna they'll switch out and stuff like that. And just one of the things that they don't want to do is present a force of Elal. So they're kind of being discreet about their guarding duties. In fact, when you go out there and you find them, they're not actually in like with sword and shield up. They're kind of like they blended with the natives of the Devil's Triangle, and they're kind of like hanging out, but you definitely know that they're watching, and
Perfect.
they've hidden their ability to draw weapons and swords fairly quickly underneath their cloaks and things like that. But there's a couple of them standing out in front while the work is happening inside.
Cool.
And so that ends this day. What do you guys want to do? Anything at night? 4 of you?
I think I want to sleep.
Nothing planned.
Sleep.
Sleep.
Yes, sleep.
Sleep. Are you
Slam
gonna
head into pillow.
Are you gonna go to the Ishtal for food and drinks, or are you gonna go to the inn and do the same thing?
Let's go to the inn where we're actually camped.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys, obviously, it's a fairly large inn. It's on the other side of the street, which means for some reason, the quality of everything goes up significantly comparatively, right? And it's filled with normal patrons and things like that for the inn. There's merchants that are making their way and getting rooms and things like that. You had 4 rooms, and one was for Braun. So I assume you're going to give that to Mora. Mora, take that one over.
Yeah.
If Ron returns, they can fight over it.
And they have a wide menu of everything from steamed veal and artichokes to stewed sausage and lentils, bottles of whiskey and cider and wines that are available for you guys to do so. Describe to me what's going on. How do you guys want to do this?
I
I'm
probably
just going to have a light meal. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, carry on after you. Age before beauty.
Ziggy is just going to have a light meal, a small jug of mead. Then he's going to go to his bedroom. He's going to sit on his bed, let out a big sigh, and then just fall sideways straight into a sleep.
I think Tahir is probably going to spend some time down in the common room, actually, because there is something else he wants to do tonight. He's going to order like a very protein-rich meal, because he's done a lot of exercise today. And he's probably, in terms of drinks, is something like just a beer, like not their. Like I'm imagining like drinking the water is not necessarily the greatest idea in the world. So like just whatever their lightest beer is. But I'm going to spend some time like chatting to the other patrons, and just generally try to get a sense of like the people in this area, and if I can get like a sidebar with the barman a bit later on, and see if I can work out specifically what it was that the previous priest did that got them run out.
Okay. What about you, Gascon?
It's probably just going to be a light meal, and then probably just find somewhere to kind of crash for the night and sort of try to refocus a bit. Because I've exerted myself a lot in the past couple of days, and sort of I think I need to get back in touch with my magic, because I noticed that it wasn't going the greatest previously.
Okay.
So it's kind of sitting down in whatever way that would be best to sort of just refocus and kind of rechannel of sorts the magic that I use.
All right. And what about you, Mora?
Probably have a meaty meal with some vegetables and everything like that. Have a light drink, and then I'll probably go up to bed. I'll pray and then I'll probably go to sleep.
Right.
It's been a
busy day.
So Ziggy, are you going up to your room, or are you gonna just hang out in the common room?
Yeah, he's just gonna go to his room.
Okay, just want to make sure. And then to hear, you're staying in the common room to try to work out through information gathering what happened 20 years ago.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, and then everybody else is going to your room. All right, fantastic. So what we'll do here is we'll call it, because I know it's almost midnight your guys' time, right?
Yeah.
And that's generally how
Yep.
we end. So we are going to call it here. We will pick up the morning of the festival as it begins. To here, I will get with you and give you the information more or less about what you find out on time down. And we'll call it that way. Yeah, good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
And not a single sword was drawn. Ziggy, you lived.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got a hammer, so
There you go.
I
I've got
could
a new
draw a sword.
stick.
All right, very good. So we're gonna
It'll
say
probably still blow up in your face.
probably. Well, maybe I don't know.
luck,
It's a fine quality firearm, so it shouldn't do it as often. But you never know with Ziggy.
Unfortunately, he hasn't noticed the barrel's the wrong way round.
Ah,
It's the gag gun that points in the wrong direction.
that's not fair. So, anyways, we'll call it there. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. That was in chat and and stuff. Thank you for the follows and the bits from everybody that was out there. I greatly appreciate that. They greatly appreciate that. We'll be back in 2 weeks, in the middle of our Kickstarter. Oh, whoa! To continue this, keep up the good work with everybody. I hope you all stay safe, stay healthy, and always stay legendary. Everybody, say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.